相手が引き込んでくるのを大内刈りからすかさず袈裟固めに入る。立ち技から流れるように寝技に入る。
Come on, that's it, beautiful. Oh, yes. Beautiful.
抑え込み、締め技、関節技の三位一体となって活用して初めて固め技の効果を発揮する。抑え込みのことわざに、袈裟に始まり、袈裟に終わるとある。抑え込みの基本技である袈裟固めを紹介しよう。袈裟固めのバリエーションを紹介しよう。腕絡み後ろ袈裟固め。
Go on, Lamar. Turn in, Lamar. Oh, lovely. Hip on.
大内刈りで相手の体勢を崩して肩固めに入る。立ち技で勝負が決しない場合、積極的に流れるように寝技に入って相手を制する。
Go on, Radu. Go on, Radu.
What did you on that? Knee up.
Few people know about the legendary judoka Mashiko Kimura, after whom the hold was named. A natural athlete, Kimura achieved a meteoric rise in judo due to his amazing physical abilities and passionate desire to be the best. But he is most remembered for his unrivaled work ethic and rigorous training. Kimura was born on September 10, 1917 in Kumamoto, Japan, and began practicing judo at the age of 9. The boy was not just a natural for judo, he was a prodigy, as he achieved the rank of Fudan black belt by the age of 15. In 1935, at the age of 18, Mashiko Kimura took part in the famous Kodokan tournament, a survival tournament, where wrestlers divided into two teams, red and white belts, fought each other and tried to win as many bouts as possible in a row. Kimura won 8 consecutive bouts, losing only the 9th, and that was more than enough to earn him the 5th Dan, making Kimura the youngest judoka to achieve that rank at such a young age. But despite this success, the year 1935 was also a bad year for Kimura, as he suffered his first 4 defeats. Kimura was so angry at his failures that he decided to quit judo, but, as a result, somehow managed to refocus his thoughts and efforts and become arguably the greatest judoka in history. And those 4 defeats, suffered at the age of 18, would be his only defeats in competitive judo. After this, Kimura redoubled his efforts in training and vowed that he would avenge the defeats. He continued to hone his skills as hard as he could and became incredibly proficient in his favorite throw, the Osotogari. The fall after which was so severe and injury-prone that his sparring partners often asked Kimura to limit his use of the technique to protect himself from injury. In the fall of 1937, Mashiko Kimura took part in the All Japan Judo Championships, quite easily defeating the first 2 opponents, both with his crowning throw Osotogari. In the final, he met the best judoka of those years, Masayuki Nakajima, and who, in addition to all this, was also 13 centimeters taller and almost 20 kilograms heavier than Kimura. Throughout the fight, Kimura could do nothing with his opponent. Several times they flew off the tatami. By the end of the fight, the competitors were so tired that both of them almost fainted, but neither of them could earn a single point, and then an additional round was announced. Nakajima's and Kimura's kimonos were wet with sweat, and they could barely stand on their feet. But when they were given time to rest, Kimura noticed that Nakajima was actively massaging his legs, and he realized where his opponent's weak spot was. As soon as the bout resumed, Kimura worked his way to Nakajima's legs, threw him down, and performed a hold. The bout, which lasted 40 minutes, was over. Masahiko Kimura became the champion of Japan. But on this achievement, he was not going to stop. Then Masahiko thought that he won by accident, and only because he was younger and tougher than his opponent. The thought began to creep into his mind that maybe he wouldn't be able to repeat this victory. And since then, the desire to win every time turned into an obsession. Kimura was no longer willing to give up the title of best judo fighter to anyone. But how to do it, thought Masahiko, because there are so many talented judoka who train as much as him. They are full of desire, determination, and strength to take away his title. Then he decided to develop his own unique training system, thanks to which he wanted to become invincible. This system included daily training for 9 hours, consisting of thousands of push-ups and practicing some elements of throws to automaticity, where, at night in the forest, Kimura's opponents were often ordinary trees. All these efforts bore fruit, and Masahiko Kimura won 2 more All Japan Judo Championships, becoming a 3-time champion of Japan. In 1943, Kimura joined the Japanese army, where he taught judo. After the war, he returned to competition in 1947 and won the West Japan Judo Championship. And then in 1949, at the age of 32, he won the All Japan Judo Championship for the 4th time. This ended Kimura's athletic career as an amateur judoka and began his career as a professional judoka. In 1951, Kimura traveled to Brazil with another judoka, Yukio Kato, who accepted a challenge from the legendary Brazilian jiu-jitsu master H. Leo Gracie. The rules of the bout were set by Gracie. The bout could only end by submission or loss of consciousness. Ippon did not count. Kato and Elio were about the same size. During the bout, Kato threw Gracie on the tatami for a while, but the mats were pretty soft, so the throws didn't do much damage to Elio. Then the Japanese judoka decided to apply a choke hold, but that was his big mistake. Elio skillfully escaped and caught Kato by himself, took him for a choke, as a result of which Kato lost consciousness. Elio then challenged Kimura, who accepted. Unlike Kato, Kimura was much bigger than Elio, but that didn't stop Brazilian fans from declaring that their master would finish the Japanese. Mashiko Kimura already from the first minutes of the fight showed his superiority in the stand-up fight, repeatedly throwing the Brazilian. After that he started to choke the Brazilian on the ground. After many years, in 1993, Elio once recalled in an interview that he passed out then, but nobody noticed it. If Kimura had continued to choke me, I would have definitely died. But since I didn't give up, Kimura released the choke hold and engaged in the next technique. The release of the choke and the pain from the next technique brought me back to life, and I continued fighting. The painful hold that Gracie woke up from was called a reverse shoulder knot. The entire 20,000-seat stadium fell silent, but Elio wasn't going to give up, and then there was a snap in the silence. It was his arm breaking. But even after that, Gracie didn't give up, and Kimura, continuing to twist his arm, broke another bone in Elio's hand. That was the end of the bout. Gracie's corner threw away the white towel, admitting defeat. After this bout, in honor of Mashiko, the painful reverse shoulder knot technique by which he won was called Kimura. In the early 60s, Mashiko Kimura stopped competing and focused on coaching, spending the rest of his life teaching the art of judo. Kimura coached several world-class judoka, including Japanese champions and Olympic medalists. But with a technique named in his honor, the memory of Mashiko Kimura will live on for as long as judo, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and mixed martial arts exist.